Hello and welcome. My name's Super Saiyan and this is my video on the brand new Termite assault drill. I thought I'd do a separate video on it as I won't be buying the model straight away, so there won't be an unboxing and kind of reviewing things of the model, you know, on its release. As I said in my news and pre-order video, I might pick it up at the Warhammer Fest, but if the Castellan Knight is there, pretty much sure I'm going to pick up the Castellan Knight. Without further ado, because this does get annoying, these moving images a lot of the time, so let's just have a look at it. So it's on Forge World's website for £75. That's a fair bit of money. You know, Space Marine wise, we're almost talking of well, we're talking more than a Leviathan Dreadnought, which is a beautiful, fantastic model. Space Marine wise, we're almost talking of a Legion Sakaran battle tank. Legion Sakaran battle tanks used to be about £70, to be fair, and it's only £10 less than a Xiphon Pattern Intercept, which is another you know, beautiful model. Mechanicum wise, it's not quite as expensive as the Carachnos or the Triaros or the Macrocarad Explorator, which was or is the, you know, main sort of troop transport for Mechanicum units. Big model, £93, a lot of money. I don't know whether that went up in price. I think it did, but it's around the same price as the Krios battle tank and the Venators. It's also a little bit more expensive than a Vultrax, slightly cheaper than a Thanatar, and Thanatar's are big, high damage output units. But there you go. Mechanicum, well, for Horus Heresy anyway, has always been about the scrap code and the sort of even the smaller troops like the Thalax, which I do hope to start an army up this year of Mechanicum. The Castellaxes and the Domitars and the Thanatars, they're all, you know, quite high toughness. So the only real things you're going to be putting in the Termite itself will be the smaller units. Okay, I'm just looking at the Mechanicum, I say Codex Forge World army list here. Your Thalax are bulky, so you're not going to be able to put them in there. Myrmidons are bulky. Your Tech Priests aren't, so I suppose you could hide your Tech Priests in there. Really interesting that the Domitar isn't bulky at all. It's a monstrous creature, but it's not bulky in the book, or very bulky. So possibly you could put your Domitar in there at a push, at a squeeze. But yeah, your Skrillax can go in there, and your Castellax can go in there actually, because they're not bulky. Does that mean your Thanatar can go in there then? It doesn't say it's bulky, but it is a monstrous creature, which may well mean that it is very bulky, but it doesn't specifically say that. So yeah, you're gonna have to hunt around in a few books just to find out whether you can put certain things in the Termite. But let's have a look at the model itself then. So looks quite decent, you know, £75. It's what we're sort of used to for this Termite drill. I think they've got a mole coming. Again, I'm not really sure whether it's called the mole, but that's a much bigger subterranean sort of assault drill, more heavily armoured, probably can fit a lot more in, one would hope. So there's some pictures of it. You've got a nice little 360, which always is interesting. So I like the guns that pop out of these sort of hatches. That's quite cool. So yeah, you've got the hatches here either side. Maybe you could glue them open, maybe you could glue them closed. I think Forge World, obviously with the paint job, have done a stunning job with all that extra dirt and rust and the red, and then the transfer as well. They've, you know, and then all the heat effects there. I think that's really excellent. If we just enhance, yeah, as usual, superb paint job. Paint job style models, of course. There's some more pictures. So yeah, nice looking model. You know what you're getting yourself in for with this thing. You know, it is an assault drill. It's got a big drill at the front with the melter array, which is only a pistol weapon. I think it's only one shot as well. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, it's got a melter cutter. A melter cutter is just a pistol 1. So you're just getting a strength 8 weapon at range 8 inches. We'll talk about the rules in a little moment. So yeah, there you go, £75. It says you can transport 12 models. It's got 5 sets of tracks, the grinders and the crushers and all the rest of it. Comes as 39 components. I really do like it when Forge World actually tell you how many pieces are in the model. One step up from that, Forge World would be a picture, like all of these pictures would be another picture of all of the components. Even if it's just a copy of the, they can do it, because I'm pretty sure that the instruction guide that you get with this is going to be CAD based. So if they just had a screenshot of the component list or picture of it there, that would be great too, showing the exploded diagram of the model. That would be great. That would be one step up. But it's good that they are informing you how many components make up the model. So £75. I thought I'd do this video today on the Saturday, just because it's quite recent and I wanted it to accompany with the pre-order video, because I felt that it needed its own sort of separate video too, just to go through, just to go over the model and its rules. Speaking of which, let's have a look at its rules. So plenty of rules here, no less than 6 data sheets for this model. You've got everything from the Hellforged Termite, so you can use it in 40k for your Chaos Army. The striking things about this is it's got a nice number of wounds. It's got high toughness though. That's the thing. It's got toughness 8. It just wobbles along at 6 inches, but obviously that's on top of the earth or crust of the planet. Of course, you wouldn't normally just set it up on the top of the battlefield. Normally it'd be underground somewhere. It's got a nice save of 3+2. It's got a lot of attacks, 4 attacks at strength 7. Would have been nice if they added some kind of extra rule about when it's going along, like in assault, maybe it can use its drill bits to double its strength against a vehicle, maybe. But no, they're not. They don't think that far ahead. I don't think they are focusing mainly on the wounds and the weapons. But the weapons, there's not a lot. I mean, it is a transport after all. But pretty much for this one and for the the goodies, that the Space Marine data sheet, which I'll go on in a moment, you've just got like a 8-inch range sort of melter weapon, and then this one has 2 combi bolters, but you can replace them for the heavy flamers. The other striking thing that came out for this was it can carry 12 models, infantry models. It can't carry any Terminators or Primaris or jump pack models even, which kind of reiterates that it can't carry bulky or very bulky or extremely bulky models from its Horus Heresy rules. But the final thing that drew my attention to it was this the subterranean assault. So you can set it up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches, and for Chaos at least, you can heal on a 5+. It heals a unit with the rule in the fight phase. So that's interesting, really interesting how actually heals them. It's just a little drill with a weapon on, so that was really odd that they've chosen to do that. Then what they've also done is they've made the model even worse with this in the belly of the beast rule for Chaos at least, where when your units jump out, you've got a 1 in 6 chance of the termite actually eating them, which yeah, I don't think you're going to get many Chaos Space Marines or whoever wanting to jump in one of these if it's going to eat them. But hey, there we go. The Breaching Tremor is just like what it is for the Space Marine rules, whereby when it performs a subterranean assault, when it bursts out of the ground more than 9 inches away from enemy models, enemy units within 12 inches suffer a single mortal wound. So that's pretty cool. And the containment breach is very, very much like the explodes result, but it really does affect psychers in a bad way. So some nice rules with chaos, but yeah, in the belly of the beast, bit odd. I like the twist; it's a bit fun doing that, but yeah. The Adeptus Astartes Termite. So this is the 40k rule. So yes, you can use it in 40k for your Space Marines. It's got exactly the same stat line as the Chaos one. The Rock Eater or the Melter Cutter, exactly the same rules there. What differs is just it doesn't eat people for one. And it doesn't heal people. It's just got the Subterranean Assault. So, and when it does explode, it just does the mortal wounds. It has no effects on the psychers. So almost a night and day difference in terms of abilities, but the weapons and the stat lines themselves are the same. They both count as transport options, so they're not going to take up any of your fast attack or heavy support categories in the force organisation chart. And then we come to the Horus Heresy rules. So you've got 4 lots of Horus Heresy rules for the unit. You've got the ones for the Solar Auxilia, the Imperialis Militia, the Legions Astartes, and the Mechanicum. They're all slightly different in their own little way. And what I mean by that is their like little intro is different between all of them, but their stat lines are all exactly the same. They've all got the ballistic skill 4, the front and side armor of 12, and rear 10, and hull point 3. So yes, it's still 7th edition rules in the Horus Heresy. They both cost the same number of points, but the Solar Auxilia one can take a Twin Link Volkite Charger. They both count as fast attack. They both have the same special rules, and they can both carry the same number of units as well. Both the Solar Auxilia and the Imperialis Militia Termite drills come equipped with 2 heavy flamers as standard, whereas the Astartes one comes with 2 Twin Link Bolters, but you can also have Heavy Flamer and Volkite Charger. And the Mechanicum one comes with 2 Twin Link Volkite Chargers on the get-go. For Legion Space Marines, you're going to have to pay another 10 points for a Twin Link Volkite Charger, but with Mechanicum, it comes with it already. Mechanicum, you can swap the Volkite Chargers for Heavy Flamers if you really want to, but the Space Marines one, although kind of the most expensive, has the most options in terms of you can have Heavy Flamers or Twin Link Volkite Chargers, and it still counts as a fast attack choice, and it still has all the special rules, and you can carry the 12 models. You're not going to fit any Terminators in it though, but then again, teleportation chambers and things were more of a thing back then, so not too many points as well for the model, and you are getting something that will be invincible, you want to say. I mean yeah, you probably could say that about a drop pod, and a drop pod probably has more shooting ability once it lands. However, this little Termite assault drill has that ability of popping up out the ground, of bursting out of the ground, and causing those mortal wounds. And then of course it can move about. It can move 6 inches, which isn't isn't that slow, and it can move about and fire its melter pistol and either the Volkite Chargers or the Storm Bolters. So similar to a drop pod, but it can move afterwards. More heavily armed if you just take the melter weapon into account, and can transport more models than either a Rhino or a drop pod. We need to take that into account. You can put 12 models in here, although you can't put any Terminators and things. So a nice looking model, some good rules for it. I do like the Subterranean Assault kind of rule, knocking off mortal wounds and things. 12 models. This is the thing, if you're going up against Space Marines, it's most likely that the Space Marine player or the Space Marine Legion player will probably have a squad size of 20 anyway. If in 40k though, I think it would work better, just in the sense of you can put a group of 10 Space Marines in, and maybe a captain or a chaplain. I think that would work quite well. but no 40k rules for Adeptus Mechanicus. Really strange that, really odd that they've given rules for Imperial Guard basically and Solar Auxilia, and they've given rules for Mechanicum and Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines and then Space Marine Legions, but no rules for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Really odd that. I don't know why, and I think that's quite an odd direction anyway that Games Workshop and sort of Forge World are moving into. That they've just released this model with all those, you know, you've seen them, the 6 data sheets, but nothing for Mechanicum. They've literally just released the Forgebane set with the new Armiger Knights, so Adeptus Mechanicus is at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. Maybe people have bought the box sets for Necrons and they've got the Mechanicus models with it, and they might want to be, you know, expanding their army, so they might get the Codex, they might get a couple of different box sets. This would have been a great opportunity also to advertise this model as being able to be used as transport. You can transport your Skitarii Vanguard in this thing, or your Scion Infiltrators or something like that, because it's clear that it does operate in the 41st millennium, hence why you've got the rules for the normal Space Marines. So yeah, really bizarre that they haven't pushed it for Adeptus Mechanicus. I really think they should, like with Custodes. They definitely sell more Forge World models. I'd jump at the chance of using Mechanicum models in 40k, and if they had a specific Adeptus Mechanicus datasheet for this thing, then I would dive straight in and got it straight away. No hesitation, because that would have meant I could use it for Space Marines, for Horus Heresy, Mechanicum and Adeptus Mechanicus. Yeah, there would have been no hesitation, and I just wish that they'd do that for all their other Mechanicum models in the range, like they have done, or like they are doing with the beta rules for Custodes. And having said that, I obviously do know that it says faction keywords Imperium, but I just like specific Adeptus Mechanicus you know, data sheet. Maybe they have some variation of the Volkite weapon. Maybe it repairs wounds of the Adeptus Mechanicus models, something like that. You know, or whatever. That just would have been nice. Would have been the icing on the cake. But as it stands, very decent that they've got the 6 data sheets there. Price wise, it's about right for a model of that size. I don't think it's going to be too tricky to build. You just got to choose, I think, with the doors, and choose with the weapons that you're going to put on it. There's possibly options of magnetizing those 2 weapons, so you can swap them out and have it you know, and use it for Mechanicum or Space Marine Legions. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just thought it deserved its video on its own. What do you guys think of the Terrax pattern Termite Assault Drill? Or are you completely blinded by you know, fingers crossed, hopefully next month's release of the Castellan Knight? Have you got a Mechanicum army yourself and this is a must buy, or are you waiting for the much larger mole, I want to call it, but it might be called something else? Please do put it in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.